Track here. We have a really exciting talk coming up next. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Global Head of Commercial Data Science and AI at AstraZeneca, Ravi Gopalakrishnan.
Thanks, Piyush.
Ravi, welcome. Super excited for your talk. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah, my name is Ravi Gopalakrishnan, and I'm part of the AstraZeneca Data Science and AI team. So what I'm going to be talking about is, is some of the, in pharma commercial specifically, some of the key opportunities and challenges around the use of data-centric AI and ML. So the main problem we are trying to kind of address, especially in cancer therapies and other rare diseases, is essentially trying to kind of provide the right level of personalized education to doctors to make the right treatment at the right time. And there is rapid innovation in care where hundreds of new targeted therapies are being approved that are very effective and for very specific indications. However, not many patients or many patients are left behind and not getting the right treatment at the right time. There are multiple reasons for this. One is it's extremely hard for doctors to keep up with the pace of innovation and all the changing guidelines that accompanies that. And the second problem is usually rare diseases and cancer treatment is usually done through a multidisciplinary team that could involve multiple specialties like surgeons, radiation oncologists, medical oncologists. So they're all involved in making treatment decisions. So because of that, you need to kind of have the right level of coordinated education to kind of make sure the patient gets the right sort of investigation across all these different specialties. And the one size fits all approach will not work. So this is where I think it's a huge opportunity for building AI software and systems to enable this level of coordinated and personalized education. So, I mean, how do we do it, right? So, essentially the way to think about it is leveraging all the available data sources, both external real world data sources, which is extremely noisy, as well as a lot of our internal data sources that we have about our drugs and what it's approved for and how we want to engage with the doctors. So tons of data sources, bring them all together and trying to kind of understand at a patient level, what's really kind of happening, what are the unmet needs, what are the deviations from standard of care, and also why is it happening, what's the drivers of prescribing behaviors, unmet needs, and care gaps. And then once you answer the what and the why question, then you can build AI systems to kind of predict what's the next best intervention, and then surface those actionable insights to all the different teams that are engaged in having conversations with doctors. So within pharma commercial, there are multiple teams, right? So there are commercial teams, there are medical teams, there are field-based reps, and then there's a lot of emphasis on more delivering more digital experiences to our marketers. So the idea is to kind of coordinate and get all the communication to all these different people in a manner that's easily consumable by the doctors. So most of the education we provide is for doctors. So what are the key challenges, right? I think we have to use a lot of real world data set to be able to provide this level of insights. And some of the key challenges are we need breadth of data to really kind of understand what's happening from a patient journey perspective. And by breadth of data, I mean like a specific market and a specific disease like lung cancer, you need to kind of look at everything that's kind of happening across community cancer centers, academic cancer centers, because there are patients everywhere, right? So we have to reach out to them or reach out to them through the doctors effectively. And so the problem there is EMR data sets, as many of you know, are highly fragmented, and it's impossible to get an integrated view that has the breadth of EMR data. So we have to rely on other data sources that, like insurance claims data, that's usually generated by a bunch of aggregators that captures every medical claim, every pharmacy claim. But the problem with that is it has the breadth, but it's extremely noisy. It's got a lot of missing data. A lot of data is masked for privacy reasons or other business reasons. There is very poor capture rates of all the data, especially like biomarker testing and lab testing data is completely missing. So it's hard to basically understand what's kind of happening without that. So the way we address that is by engaging medical experts and business experts to kind of label this data and address that, right? So labeling is a huge part of our investment in time and resources, right, to really kind of understand what's happening. So these are the main challenges, and the approach we are taking is we engage with domain experts right from the beginning, right? They're involved in, we provide the right set of tools for them to kind of help us with labeling and providing all the enrichments to the data. I mean, enrichments to the data is primarily things like to address the missing data, like biomarker status, for instance, right? I mean, it's impossible to get that from claims. So we look at patterns that are happening before and after and use machine learning and AI to make those enrichments. And enrichments are essential for us to kind of build more predictive models to understand which patient is eligible for which drug and when, right? So I think that's the process we've been kind of following. So like I said, the labeling of data is in noisy data has been like where we spend like 80 to 90% of our time, right? I mean, and then we have to look at different categories of data and label them so that we deliver the right insights at the right time, right? For engaging with the doctors. So the first level is trying to identify cohort of patients, right? I mean, that combines medical claims with pharmacy claims. And then we have to kind of impute all the missing values by using like data enrichments. The second is to kind of understand, this is the entire patient journey, right? To understand the patient characteristics, what are the comorbidities, what kind of treatment have they been given in the past, how is their tolerance to certain type of drugs, what are the side effects they've experienced, what are the adverse events that they've experienced, right? That's the next level of data we have to kind of tag, because different drugs have different side effects, and we need to be very careful about how a patient is likely to respond to a drug by capturing that. And the next is, how is investigation happening? How are the patients being tested? How are they being tested before diagnosis or after diagnosis? If they're being given treatment, how well they're responding to it? So there's a lot of testing data that we have to kind of tag and impute. And then what treatments are they getting, right? I mean, what are the treatment characteristics? What is the duration? Are there any disparities in the treatment? Are certain ethnic groups getting preferential treatment over others? So there's a lot of need to kind of capture that data as well. And then obviously adverse events. How are they kind of progressing from a disease standpoint? Are they doing well? Is the treatment being successful or not? And then the last but not the least is identifying care gaps. So you can see that this whole, unless we have all this, we won't be able to develop any AI software to do reasonable predictions. So this is like pretty foundational, along with the enrichments to make the noisy data really kind of usable. So what are the opportunities for doing this at scale, right? I mean, I think we've spent a good part of a year and a half trying to be efficient at labeling all this data and building AI software. But what we are realizing is it won't really kind of scale, right? I mean, I think in order for us to kind of scale this, we need more efficient approaches to do a bunch of different types of labeling. And that's what will make the AI systems more accurate and more actionable, right? So these are some of the ideas, right? I mean, slice-based data evaluation, some of the work being done by Snorkel is a good thing to kind of understand. Programmatic labeling is a way by which we can definitely improve the speed, accuracy, and efficiency with which we get experts to kind of label the data. And then we have to deal with multimodal data sets because the data sets in certain EMR and EHR are very deep. It has a lot of deep information, but it's only for one hospital, right? So how do you learn from that data and apply it to the broader nationwide kind of claims data, right? There's a lot of opportunity there. And then also consult with how do you represent the knowledge of experts within a pharma company and also external who have really good understanding of the guidelines and the disease profiles and the side effects for specific drugs, right? How do you represent their knowledge, their insights is another opportunity. And then definitely, last but not the least, how do you make the labels more consistent from all the different experts and more accurate, right? So AI systems can kind of learn, right? So these are some of the big opportunities we see. So we've had some initial successes with some of the work we've done, but it takes a long time to build any AI software to really personalize every interaction we have with our physicians. And I'll just give you a couple of examples, right? I mean, I think some of the work we've done on lung cancer is around a biomarker, or it's a mutation called EGFR. I mean, essentially, we have a very targeted therapy for lung cancer patients who have this specific EGFR mutation, and it works magically, right? I mean, both for early stage lung cancer as well as late stage lung cancer. But then the problem is, the problem we're trying to see is, how do you guide treatment, first identification of EGFR patients and treatment of EGFR patients at the right time. And EGFR testing data is completely missing from claims, and EGFR biomarker status is also completely missing from claims. So basically, we took a machine learning approach to enrich and tag every patient record in the United States with their EGFR status. Every patient who's diagnosed with non-small cell lung cancer with an EGFR status. And now we're trying to see how we can capture that. So we got pretty decent kind of results on that, and it kind of fits well. Now our next challenge is to kind of see how we can make this more actionable through our sales and marketing and patient outreach kind of efforts. So another example is again in breast cancer. This is we have this amazing drug that was recently approved called Enhertu for different classes of metastatic breast cancer patients. And one of the specific indications is on this particular biomarker called HER2-low, which is no drug exists for this, right? But then the problem is finding these HER2-low patients. So that's like a biomarker enrichment kind of problem, right? So this is where using multimodal data sets is the only way to do it, right? So we used an EMR data set from a subset of a very small population of metastatic breast cancer patients that was curated by Flatiron, the hardware. And, it's a small data set, only about 27,000 patients data sets, but then we had to kind of apply that to millions of metastatic breast cancer patients across the United States that's coming from the claims. So we developed a series of machine learning models to kind of classify some of these patients in one data set and transfer the learnings from the MR data set, the claims, right? And then, this is the way, this is, HER2-low it's a devastating breast cancer kind of a profile, and all these patients can now benefit from this new therapy called Enhertu. So these are like a couple of quick examples. And again, the results after the enrichments and using the machine learning approaches is pretty decent, pretty acceptable. And we are trying to see how best to kind of use this for to ensure that all patients who are eligible for this particular therapy get it at the right time. So that concludes my talk, and I'll now pass it on for any Q&A.
Ravi, thanks so much for that presentation. That was great. There are a few questions that are coming in now that I think I'd love to get your take on. So Vashisht has a few questions. First is, what tools are we using to accelerate data enrichment? No one mind speaking to that.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, what tools are you using to accelerate data enrichment?
Yeah, I mean, right now we are experimenting with a lot of tools we built in-house, a combination of what we get from AWS and a lot of different tools, because some of them are largely domain-specific business rules is where we kind of start, and then that's like one aspect, right? It's a combination of using business rules, and then again, I showed the thing about tagging all the different data. Once you tag all the different data and you have the business rules, you use that. I mean, another is again a machine learning based approach to enrich the data. This is like standard modeling approaches. You take a cohort of patients that clearly with the truth set have certain characteristics and use that to kind of apply it to broader. Yeah, these are all custom built tools.
Got it. It's exciting. The next question that we have is, what are the main kind of data infrastructure bottlenecks in the pharma space at large, and what can be improved to enable ML projects?
Yeah, data infrastructure. I mean, the scale of data we are dealing with is, again, this is, if you take US alone, right? I mean, I think we have, infrastructure has not been an issue for us so far, because it's all about high quality data sets, right? I mean, so you from several millions of patient records, especially for cancer, you get down to like, hundreds of thousands, right? And then tens of thousands type thing, right? I mean, that's what we have to kind of process. So the current infrastructure through like AWS is what we are currently using, works pretty reasonably. We are not run into any bottleneck from an infrastructure standpoint. Bigger problem for us is how do we do this, domain in expert kind of labeling at scale, right? I mean, because that's what is needed to actually train some of our AI systems. So
if only there were solutions that were focused on that. No, I'm just kidding with you.
Yeah.
Well, another question just came in. How do you look at evaluation for these use cases? Are there like stricter requirements, just given the nature of the work that you all do at AstraZeneca and in the space at large?
Yeah, I mean, we are experimenting with a lot of different evaluation criteria. I mean, luckily it should be good enough, because our use case is more at an aggregate. We want to personalize the way we engage with doctors, right? We're not providing recommendations at an individual patient level. So we don't run into the thing of, we have a good compliant, it's through our sales and marketing channels is how we provide, okay, this is the next best action for this doctor based on the patient profile pool. So the need for, it's okay to have, we try to minimize false negatives, right? And we validate our results through a combination of the data sets we have that's highly curated and well-established data sets, as well as through academic experts, KE experts? Does it really kind of make sense, right? It's a combination of both.
Got it. It's awesome. And if others, who are watching or going to be watching later are interested in following your work, is there a good way to follow along with what you're doing, your team's doing at AstraZeneca, or just you personally? Is there a preferred method of kind of reaching out to you that you'd like to suggest here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think reach me out, ravi.gopalakrishnan at AstraZeneca.com. I mean, we would want this data-centric AI community, we want to partner with them and live and jointly innovate it with you. We can't solve it all ourselves, right? I mean, part of the opportunities and challenges that I kind of highlighted on is how can we leverage what's already kind of happening within the community. And we are based in San Francisco, right? So from a location standpoint, happy to kind of connect with as many people as possible, right, to address these problems. We're saving lives, so it's a good problem to work on.
It's incredible. Thank you so much for the work that you all are doing. Oh, looks like actually another question just came in. We do have a few minutes, so we'll actually go back to it. How do you see the relationship between machine learning models and domain experts maturing in the future? Like, what's the role of human input moving forward here in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, always I think human and expert knowledge, given the noisiness and the kind of issues we are seeing, the stage at which we are in is there has to be an override for compliance reasons and for a lot of other reasons, right? So, I mean, we are using machine learning mainly as a triage to kind of filter and then run it by experts. But I think medical experts will have a huge role to play in labeling these data sets because the science is rapidly evolving, right? So it's going to keep changing. It's not static. So you can't really fill that gap with more data, right? I mean, I think you really need experts to be in the loop for everything we do. So, I mean, I don't see that. I mean, we can elevate what the experts do. I mean, by providing them the right kind of decision support tools and all that, but eventually the experts will have to make the final decision.
Yeah, that's spot on with what I'm observing in my conversations as well with clients in the field. They just want to make it more efficient to partner with these subject matter experts, make it so that it's not that much friction for them to take their domain knowledge, and they're having to keep up with all these advancements in science themselves, like in a human level, and digest it.
I mean, it's impossible, right? I mean, I think if you really go talk to like oncologists and surgeons, and I mean, what role does pharma play? Because the science is with pharma, right? The practitioners and treatment decision makers are all these highly specialized, and they're all graduates from the best of universities. It's impossible for them to keep up, right? I mean, just in ASCO in June, just from AstraZeneca alone, there were like 100 abstracts that read out, okay, within just that week. And then oncologists going to practice, how are they going to keep up, right? I mean, I think AI systems have a huge role to play in helping them keep up with this and guiding them based on the type of patients they're treating. So
yeah, it's incredibly exciting. You have the AI and kind of machine learning world moving rapidly. There's research papers flooding in all the time of like latest advancements in AI ML, and then for your industry that you're personally in, it's also complemented with just the domain evolving so rapidly.
Exactly.
So
exactly, yeah,
probably never a boring day, I bet.
Yeah.
So
but I think expert labeling is going to be a huge at scale, right? I mean, and with efficiency is, I mean, how do we generate the right set of tools to be able to kind of do that is a huge area for us to kind of focus on by partnering with, folks like yourselves and others in the community. And MLOps is going to change, right? I mean, so MLOps will be a huge area as well.
Could not agree more. MLOps, monitoring, really the entire life cycle of how these models, the training data gets generated, the models get developed and continuously update. So it's going to be exciting. Well, Ravi, on behalf of everyone at Snorkel, well, thank you and the folks at AstraZeneca for all the work that you're doing in pharma and then improving lives all around the world. Thank you for also engaging with the data-centric AI community, right? You called out explicitly that's important, and we appreciate you playing an active role here by giving this talk. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and look forward to jointly innovating with you guys.
Likewise, can't wait. For the audience, you heard Ravi kind of share his email address if you want to stay in touch or send a follow-on questions to him. In the meantime, we have a poll that just went live, so let us know how you enjoyed the talk by visiting the poll section in the side menu. And let's talk about what's coming up next. So I'm actually going to share the agenda here. We're actually due for a 30-minute break to get refreshed, and we'll all come back and back on the applications track for an exciting new talk. So enjoy your break, and we'll see you back here in 30 minutes.